Evening all. Happy Sunday evening. Stephen here. Still glued to my sofa in South East London. What's new? I was going to be outside tonight, but it's turned rather cold and it's been raining. So, British summer back on track after the heat wave. You know what I'm listening to? Roxy music. For your pleasure. 1973. A trip back into the archives. Look at her. Those were the days. They were credited with kicking off the whole glam rock thing in this country. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I'm smoking my clay, which as you can see is colouring up nicely. And in it I've got some Cult Blood Red Moon. And I'm drinking a drop of the old organic still cider. Cheers. Good health. Ooh, it's a bit sinister then. Maybe it's just me. So how are we all? All doing well, I trust? I was watching, actually I said all doing well. I've watched a couple of videos recently. One from Stephen, Cobbett of the Shire, who's got a few health worries on the go. So I'm hoping that all turns out well for him and that it doesn't prove to be anything too serious. I don't know what the waiting is like. He's waiting for some results at the moment, and that's the worst part. So good luck to you, Stephen. Hope all goes well. And I watched a video by Johan, the Mindful Pipe, the other day, and Johan's a fellow sufferer. There's plenty of us on here. A fellow sufferer with mental health problems and depression in particular, and he's going through a tough time at the moment. But I hope he can see the light at the end of the tunnel and come out on the other side soon. He did say that he finds doing the YTPC stuff helpful in terms of his problems, as I do myself. So good luck to you, Johan. I hope you're on the mend, mate. So what have I been up to? Not a lot, not a lot. What's I going to talk? A couple of things that have come to mind recently for particular reasons. Is the old digital technology that we all rely on these days. It's become second nature. You can't think back to a time when there was anything else. But my kids were born, well certainly my eldest was born, when we were still reliant on ordinary film cameras. You'd shoot a roll of film, you'd send it away, get it developed, you get it back, you had the pictures in your hands. Some of them were rubbish, they were blurred, out of focus, but you had the reminder there. And then of course digital cameras came in. I've got no idea when they first became big. And suddenly we weren't getting them all printed or developed anymore, and we were just saying, oh, they're all on the hard drive, they're all on here, that's fine. And a few years back we had the nightmare of all computer owners in this digital age, is that computer died. And it had years of photographs on it, our children growing up. But fortunately we were able to get someone in who fixed it so much in. I mean, I had an external hard drive, and he was able to copy it all to that. And instead of learning our lesson, that's how we let it stay. And we've got years of photos still on this brick of a hard drive that I bought many years ago. It still works, they're still there. But the trouble is, thanks to Microsoft and their policy since Windows 7 onwards, of basically trying to force you to use everything Microsoft approved, my Windows 10 laptop will not open this hard drive. So I've got to find a way around it and see if I can access these photos and actually copy them into various places, which is obviously the sensible thing to do. Copy them onto DVDs, copy them onto flash drives, you know. But it is a bit worrying. I'm sure a lot of you are much more sensible, you make sure you have everything backed up. But we were still sort of novices at this time, and leaving it all in one place is a huge risk, big mistake. We actually knew people that did lose everything, it couldn't be recovered, which is a worrying thought. Cheers once again. I think, have I been up to anything else? I came on here with the intention of talking about something. Blowed if I can remember what it was. Oh well. That's old age for you. Been watching a few old films these days. Checked on my cable provider, and there used to be a point that I would go to in the guide that I'd search through and never went any further. And I'd be moaning, oh God, all this rubbish they keep showing over and over again. And then I found this channel further on in the depths of, in the upper reaches of my channel numbers, that in the early hours of the morning shows all these great old films. So I recorded Hombre with Paul Newman, which I'm going to watch. Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean, which I haven't seen for years, and of course they never show on any other channel. And another British film in the early 60s that I'd never heard of, which I'm looking forward to watching too. I do like a film. I was actually thinking last night, because I had my youngest staying here last week. And thank you once again for your kind words. Those results, I cannot adequately express what a relief those results were. But she was here, and we were scanning through the box last night to see what there was to watch. And it came up with the first Captain America film, Captain America the First Avenger. She's big, I mean she's 18 years old, and she is big in all these superhero films, as so many young people are. And of course they become a massive thing. I've never got into them. Never enjoyed them. And that's weird, because of course I grew up reading superhero comics. I started mainly DC comics to start off with. Superman, Batman, The Flash, The Atom, Green Lantern. And a bunch that I'd forgotten about. I don't know if anyone else remembers them. They were called Metal Men, and it was like a team. And they were almost like robots, but each one was made of a different metal, and so they had different properties. For some reason that really clicked with me in the early 60s. And there used to be the League as well, where all the superheroes met together and did all fantastic things. Yeah, so DC Comics was really my growing up. Say from when I was about 5 years old up to 10 years old. And I think they were more readily accessible here in the UK. But then the mid-60s came along and we started getting a lot more Marvel Comics stuff. And I really got into Spider-Man in particular. Spider-Man was a big favourite. Thor, Captain America, of course. And yeah, so that was my growing up, sort of from 5 years old up to 15 years old. I'd read an awful lot of comics of the DC and Marvel worlds. I suppose part of the problem is it's what you grow up with. You've got the comic there and one thing and another, and the films don't quite live up to your memories. I tend to find them a bit cliched, but I know a lot of people enjoy them. And we enjoyed watching Captain America last night, but to me it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a fantastic film, but there you go. What about any of you others that sort of started off with the comics? What you think of the film versions nowadays? Oh, Brian giving out, yeah. It's the last album of theirs that Eno played on. And then they became a bit more straightforward, sort of pop rock after that, although... Is it Stranded is the next one? I've got that too, that's a great album. And Country Life that followed it. But then I kind of went off them after that. Anyway, I've got a film lined up for tonight which I've never seen before. I'm sure all of you have seen it, but I don't get out much these days. Well, being a Brit, I'd call it World War Z, but I'm sure it's probably known as World War Z, with Brad Pitt. Post-apocalyptic, zombie, apocalypse, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to give that a go. Never seen it, quite looking forward to it. I'll tell you what, it has turned so chilly here, and you know, I'm sure Token Tommy would call me a southern wuss. I've actually put the heating on tonight. I don't get, I mean, putting the heating on in August, normally I try and hold out until the end of October, but I'm just getting too old for that lark. I get aches and pains, back of my neck, my shoulders, my elbows. And I was sitting here thinking, I'm cold. I'm going to put the heating on. You can't take it with you, can you? You might as well live in comfort while you can. I thought I'd been lucky it stayed alight that long. God, this music takes me back. It's been, I said, this is another one that I can't remember when I last listened to it. As I say, it's probably been 45 years since I listened to it. It's not a bad album. I think it actually weathers well, stands the test of time. And of course, for its time, it was pretty cutting edge. Better than the first album, which I've also got, but this one I think was better. Any road up, all. I'm waffling on. I better go and sort myself out for the rest of the evening. Zigmeister's in the kitchen. Probably lying by the radiator, luxuriated in the warmth. which is sort of a new experience for us. Those who have watched my earlier videos will know that, well, my boiler replaced, my old boiler used to blaze away like nobody's business, and it was still freezing now. This one's the opposite extreme. So that's it for tonight. Nice to speak to you all again. Hope you're all well. There's been a few people that haven't been around much. Haven't heard from the Peaches for a long time. I noticed Tree is back, which is good news. That's good to hear. But yeah, I don't know whether it's the natural progression of things. Others have spoken about it. Johan spoke about it as well. But people have done videos in the past. Have I mentioned this before about the natural lifespan of a YTPC presenter? And you know, it tends to die away after a certain amount of time. There's only very few people that keep it real and keep it going. And I felt the same myself. But then there's always new people that come along and pick up the baton and carry it with them. And good luck to them. There's no reason why it shouldn't be a sort of constantly renewing and recycling thing. There comes to a point where you think you've said everything you can say. I wish this had come on earlier. This is my favourite track. In every dream home a heartache. But I can't sit here and wait for it all. Is there a heaven? I like to think so. But yeah, I do think that, listen to this and think 1973, they were ahead of the curve. And a lot that here in the UK went on to become big punk artists in the late 70s, particularly Susie and the Banshees. They were hugely into Roxy music in the early 70s. Bit difficult to make the connection, but there you go. Any road up, that's enough. I hope you're all well. I hope you've had a great weekend and you all have a fantastic week ahead. And I'll speak to you again soon. Ta-da.